Tech News Weekly is sponsored by Hover.com. Domain names made simple. Go to gfq.hover.com and get 10% off your entire purchase. And by Stitcher Radio. Listen on the go via the Stitcher mobile app. For more information, go to stitcher.com/GFQ.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody, to Tech News Weekly. I'm your host, Andrew Zarian. Of course, I'm here
Get
with...
on the right camera.
I'm on the right camera. God damn it, John. Jesus. This is Tech News Weekly, where we run down all of the week's tech news, or things that we're interested in. I'm joined by Suncast, as I am each and every week. How you doing, John?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Your video looks very good, actually.
Sweet.
I'm very happy with this. And this week we actually have a newcomer to the show.
Not every week.
One person that is in our chat room all the time. A lot of people in our room know him, and that's Joe DeMax. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I gotta just put your volume up a little bit. I see you have the GFQ stuff behind you.
I don't know what happened.
No, it's all there.
It is all there.
Are you nervous?
No, not really.
Are you nervous that you're around Suncast? You're on the same show as Suncast.
Yeah.
I would be very nervous because sometimes he claws at people and he bites. He does bite. He gets very upset and he starts biting people.
He'll grow out of it.
He'll grow out of it one day. Oh, this is going to set the tone for the entire show. So a lot's been going on this week in tech news. Surprisingly, a lot's been going on. And I do want to start with the big rumor, and that's Apple reporting that they're going to be... The rumors are that Apple's going to be unveiling the iPhone 5 along with the alleged iPad mini. Now, we don't know if that's what they're going to call it, but the 7-inch iPad, September 12th. I know, Joe, you guys do the live tech keynotes, right?
Yeah, we're going to be definitely covering this.
So this is big stuff for you guys, right?
Oh, it's big news.
So you guys do it I think it's like twice a year you guys put it together.
Yeah, I mean, whenever Apple do something, we try to cover it as best as we can.
And you guys get picked up by Fuji TV, and a lot of mainstream media picks up your coverage of this.
Yeah, that's the most insane part, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the most insane part as well. So what do you expect from this? Do you think we're going to see the iPad mini? We all know that we're going to get the iPhone 5. I mean, or the new iPhone, as they'll probably call it.
Well, I'll say this. It won't be the iPhone 5 because the iPhone 4S will be the 5th generation iPhone. But did you see the pictures that Mac Rumors has posted today, about 15 minutes ago, of the iPad mini?
Mac Rumors posted this? I have not seen.
Yeah, I'll put it in chat for you. There you go.
I'm pulling it up right now as we speak. So Mac Rumors posted... don't have it. Oh, there we go. Okay. No, what I did see that they posted was this curved glass iPhone model, and we're getting so many of these leaks from the Samsung lawsuit. It's very interesting, some of these devices that they're putting out, but will we see an iPad mini, and will it be a good idea? John, do you think this is a good idea for Apple to put out a 7 or 8 inch iPad?
Sorry, I forgot to put my mic back on.
There you go.
Apple can do whatever they want. I mean, they're able to sell basically anything, and that's the great thing about Apple is that it doesn't matter what they put out. They have a following of people that will buy anything that's made by Apple. So I could definitely see them doing this. I don't know if it's a great idea or not. It's just the tablet market is one of those things that's still somewhat unknown and shaky.
So here are the images.
Apple's iPad works well and sells, but as we've seen, it hasn't been the same case when it comes to Android tablets.
So here are the images on Mac Rumors, and it just seems like a smaller iPad. The back of it seems a lot flatter, and it does seem a little thinner.
And no camera.
And no camera. Yeah, you know what? That's a step backwards for them. That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
I personally feel that if they release this thing, it's going to be, to me, it's almost going to be like they're going backwards. I don't know if we need a 7-inch iPad.
Well, that's the thing, is that there's just been so many rumors, and that's the thing with Apple is that you just never know exactly what they're going to do. It could be that they actually are doing all this stuff. It just might not actually come out and be released. They
And we
might
don't
be
know when
testing all this stuff. These might be all prototypes that they're doing internally that we don't know that they're ever going to actually release as a product. There might be just developmental testing to see if it's feasible and if people can actually like it or not.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen all these devices that Apple had been planning for years. A lot of these leaked images have been coming out since.
Well, you saw the iPhone purple prototype that they had that they were arguing in the Samsung case that we had this design first before Samsung had it.
Yeah, and we've also seen the concept behind the iPhone 4 was created even before the iPhone came out, which I found that
And you'll
very
also
fascinating.
see multiple different types of prototypes, as we've seen with these latest iPhone 5 leaks over the past couple of weeks and months, is that even some of these leaked images that come out, they're not all the same. You'll see a different type of prototype case that say that this manufacturer or somebody saw this and this is the new iPhone 5. But then 2 weeks later, you'll have another leak saying that, oh, this is what the new iPhone 5 is going to look like.
You know, they're in a very, very interesting situation because this is the first time that Apple has had multiple serious competitors in every market that they're in. Android has been doing a phenomenal job with their latest operating system, and I think that the next generation of Android phones on the market are really going to be a serious competitor. We're seeing that the the Nexus 7 tablet is really good, surprisingly, in the 7-inch market. I don't know how they'll do in the 10-inch market, but in the 7-inch market, they have a serious competitor.
And you still go back to that pricing point, too,
Yeah.
is that they've got this iPod Touch that they're selling for $200, and we've seen that 7-inch tablets really only do well at most $300.
At 300, well, even under that, $199 is a great price point to be at. Apple will definitely not be at the $199 price point. They're most probably going to be $299, which is a $300
You almost
price
sort
point.
of have this market expectation that if it's a 7-inch tablet, it can't cost more than $200.
Yeah, Joe, what do you think? What do you think the pricing will
Yeah.
be, and where do you think they'll be selling a lot of these? And will it hurt the 10-inch market that they have?
Now, how many of you remember Steve Jobs' quote from a couple of years ago? I'll read it for you now. The reason we won't make a 7-inch tablet is because we don't want to hit a lower price point. That's very interesting. It wouldn't be the first time they backtracked.
Well, it's a different Apple now.
It is and this is another good point.
I mean, they added an HDMI port to their laptop, which I never thought I would see them do. They've added USB 3.0, which Steve Jobs really was holding off in doing. There's a supposed 7-inch iPad Mini that's going to be coming out, and even down to those commercials. The latest commercials Apple's been putting out are awful, and you know that Steve Jobs would never have approved something like that.
They were. I kind of like them, but as I watch them, you kind of do realize like Steve Jobs would never have let this.
You know
He
when I
would have
first
never
noticed it,
approved these.
they had a holiday commercial, and I think John, we spoke about this during the holidays, and it was the first time it wasn't Apple-like. The commercial, it was almost like this warm and fuzzy commercial that they put out. And the first time I saw it, I said, "This is not this is not an Apple commercial that we know of."
They look more Google than they do Apple.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they're kind of shifting.
A lot of people said like the first thing you'll see post Steve Jobs, the first thing that you'll see slide is the advertising, and I think that's true. I think that's what's happened.
Yeah. So this iPhone 5 that we're going to see, I think all the leaked images are the device that we're going to see at this point, right? John or Joe, which one? Do you think these are going to be the images? This is going to be the actual device, or are we going to get something else?
Who was it that got all the parts and then assembled what they thought would be the next iPhone? You saw that picture?
Yeah,
right?
I did. And you have
I've
to
seen
look
it, but then again, I mean, this is the thing. We've seen so many leaks over the past probably 3-4 months that it's chaos as far as, all right, well, it's almost like misdirection, kind of like a shell game. All right, we got one leak over here, another leak over here. Which one is it?
Yeah. Well, what I find fascinating, the most interesting thing to come out of all these leaked documents over the last week or so was a new patent application that Apple filed. And it shows this secondary display on a smart cover. where it turns into a keyboard, it turns into a secondary display. It's a very advanced smart cover, and I think this is going to be their answer to what the Surface is doing currently. This is their answer to that. And now, I don't know if we'll see it in this generation of iPads coming out or we'll see it in the next one. Who knows? But it's a very fascinating concept behind what they're doing, and we could see the trend there. So the battle is really heating up. Microsoft Surface really has an uphill battle at this point. I think they all do. I think it's going to be that market where, Apple's controlling 70% of the tablet market, that's going to become 40%. And it's going to spread amongst all of them. I don't know. We'll see what happens with this, but it is interesting stuff. September 12th is the date that we're going to get all the information. John, you want to go to a story?
Yeah, I want to talk about this Metro stuff because this is kind of an interesting story. Yesterday, I believe Mary Jo Foley came out on CNN and was talking about how Microsoft sent a memo out to developers saying, don't call anything Metro anymore because we're not going to officially go with that. And that was a little bizarre because, as we know, Microsoft has called their new Windows 8 interface and even Windows Phone 7 as Metro. So now they're being told not to use the word or the term Metro anymore. What it seems like is happening is that there's a German company called Metro AG or something like that, and that they have some sort of disagreement with Microsoft over their use of the term Metro. So what Microsoft is officially saying is that Metro is not necessarily the name that we're going to go with commercially when we officially launch Windows 8. That's just what we were calling it internally during the product development phase.
Well, I think that's a smart idea because they have to distinguish this as the Windows rather than Windows Metro Edition. Windows is Windows, and that's the only way that they're really going to be able to push the brand as the brand. I think this whole Metro thing, you have Metro and you have Classic, and we've heard them say don't call it Classic, and now they're saying don't call it Metro. It's just Windows.
It's a little weird. I mean, they're being told now that they should use the terms new user interface or Windows 8 style UI, which I think is a much better way to talk about it than just saying it Metro, because I think most people don't understand, well, what's Metro? We don't understand the term Metro.
I thought they would actually, what they would have done was, and at first, this is what I initially thought they would do, that the Surface, like the tablet version of Windows, would be called Windows Metro.
Well, it's the same thing when they call it the Charms Bar. What the heck is a Charms Bar? What are charms?
I know Joe's very excited to go to Windows 8.
Oh, I have several VMs, and I'm so excited to just reformat every computer I own and run Windows 8 all the way. Yeah,
let's see you try to webcast with that. With more Windows 8 news, it went RTM. It was released. The final version apparently has been leaked on the torrent sites. I don't know if it's a tweaked version of the consumer preview or if it's the actual RTM.
It's a little early for it to leak, in my opinion.
Yeah, it got leaked really fast.
It's more or less just a tweaked version of what we've already had out.
From what I've heard on the news sites, this is the Windows 8. It's the enterprise version that ships without media player because they have to do that here because of, I don't know why. But apparently this is what is going to ship.
And this is it. We're done. I mean, Windows 8 is finished. Now, what I don't really understand is they're really missing something. RTM is shipped. It's the first week in August, but we're not going to get this. It's not going to go on sale. It's not going to go to the consumer till the end of October. That's a really long delay.
A similar time frame to when Windows 7 was released.
Very similar time frame, but the rumors were that they were going to try to make it for back to school. That's what they were trying to do. But I don't think Windows 8 is the delay. I think this time the uphill battle that they're facing is getting Surface ready in time for Windows 8 because they're going to go side by side, according to the notes that were released early this week. The Surface is going to come out on the 26th alongside Windows 8. So Windows RT and Windows 8 are going to get released together.
Another point and also segue into another topic that we have here is that supposedly Windows 8 store only has about 450 Metro-styled applications in it. Is that actually enough for the launch of Windows 8 to be successful, to have less than 1,000 applications in the Windows Store.
Well, you're talking about RT, right? Will Windows RT be successful?
No, I'm talking about Metro-styled applications.
Okay.
So I'm talking about Windows, anything that has Metro interface in it, which is all of Windows 8.
Yeah, I'm actually quite disappointed in the development process of this, because when they put out the developer preview, I had thought, every month when they do that big update, we would get a bulk or a nice chunk of Metro-styled apps being released. We have not seen that.
No, because here's the thing, is that in order to get into the Windows Store, you had to follow certain requirements set by Microsoft. Some of those requirements are for like businesses. They have to have the final version of Windows in order to create their application and submit it to the Windows Store. If you're an individual, there's absolutely no way for you to submit an application to the Windows Store. They simply don't have any sort of process for an individual to submit an application to the Windows Store. So I do think that possibly in this time that we have between RTM and it launching in October, that we will see more applications, but just how many applications?
But I mean,
how many
again,
applications are needed for a successful launch
exactly
of a product?
Exactly. I mean, when the iPhone came out, it was all about apps. We've gotten used to this, having this crazy high number of hundreds of thousands of apps in an app store. But is it necessary if all the key applications are
In this
out?
day and age, I think so, yeah.
What do you think, Joe?
Oh, I'm just reading through their requirements, and they're quite interesting. For example, they have to at least fit 1020 by 768. They must meet basic performance criteria. It has to launch within 5 seconds or less. So they seem to be very tight on what's going to get into this, very much like Apple do with the Mac App Store.
And I think they should. I think they should, because that's the downfall of Android, in my opinion. The reason why the Android marketplace is not at the level of at the level of Apple's is because of the lack of control that they have over a lot of these apps.
I think Apple don't have enough quality control on the iPhone App Store if you look what's on there.
You think there should be more quality control?
Yeah, and I think if these 450 apps are quality apps, I think they'll succeed to an extent.
What are we going to say,
But I
John?
also think that Microsoft should also be doing as much as possible as they can to help developers create these applications. I'm not sure that they're necessarily doing all that they can to help these developers.
Yeah, but it's very difficult, in my opinion.
Here's the thing, too, is that you have Windows 8 with this new user interface. And the way it is now, you have the base apps there. It's like when you get any sort of phone, you have the basic applications there. You have an email program. You have a writing program. And that's about all you're going to have until you start adding all these third-party applications to it. And because Windows 8 is so new, those applications simply haven't been developed yet.
Yeah, well, that's what's really holding it back. Talking about holding back, Google has postponed the Nexus Q launch to quote unquote make it better, and they're sending a free device to everybody who pre-ordered this device. So if you were one of the dummies that ordered this thing, guess what? You're the smart one, because now you're getting one for free. This device is such a waste, in my opinion, and it's the perfect example of what Google does. Somebody has this crazy idea, they create this awful device, and they're putting it out there, and it's awful. And it's not prepared. It's not finished. They're putting out this incomplete operating system and this incomplete hardware for hundreds of dollars. And now they're giving it away for free.
It's kind of funny, the fact that they just had this big Google I.O. conference, and this is one of the things that they announced, and they were just so gung-ho about. They're like, this is one of the greatest things ever. Oh, but wait, we want to hold off on the launch now because we want to make it better.
Yeah.
Okay, but you just said it was the greatest thing ever. It does all these great things. So...
But can you see this thing ever selling? Who's going to buy this device? I mean, let's look at...
hardcore Android users that know how to jailbreak it and put other applications and ROMs on there.
I mean, that's a very niche audience.
It is.
Joe, do you think this device will actually sell?
No, I have my doubts whether it will ever ship to the mainstream.
You don't think you think it'll be a couple hundred people that get this thing and it'll be one of these devices?
Am I saying vaporware? Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's such a silly device considering they have Google TV out on the market that's still not further developed. I mean, they've done one update to Honeycomb.
But then again, I mean, this could be a precursor product to something that's even greater down the line that Google is working on or cooking up.
Sure, but why not? I'll ask you this, John. Why not just, I don't know, let's get crazy. Call it Google TV.
Because this is just such a new field for them to work in, I think, in a way that the idea that they felt more comfortable creating a separate product in the meantime while they work on all these little things here before they decide that they're going to integrate it to other products. If you look at Gmail, when it first came out compared to what we have today, you were only getting maybe 1 gigabyte of email. Now we got 10 times that. So you can see how you start out with something, and then over time, it becomes something so much better and so much cooler.
Yeah, by the way, did you guys see the touchpad, the HP touchpad that's running Android 4.1?
No.
Yeah, they got the Cyanogen 10 is now running on the HP touchpad. And I was reading about it the other day, and they were saying how it's actually really smooth and runs really well.
Because they said that they're going to stop supporting older devices.
Who did? Cyanogen.
Cyanogen Mod, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I found it fascinating that they're running on there. To break down the Google situation, they have all these different platforms. Let's look at what they have. They have the Chrome OS, which makes no sense at this point. They have Android. They have Google TV, which is Android, okay. And now they have another version of Android on the Q.
You know what I think part of this is, and I just kind of realized this, I think they were trying to create something that was kind of Apple TV-ish.
Yeah, but for 390, what is it, $300?
And that's where they screwed up. If they had made it for $99, I think they would have sold.
Yeah, but you know what? Do you really know what it does? I don't think, and I mean, nobody knows what it does. I
have no concept of what this does.
No concept at all.
Right.
And the only thing I learned from that, I mean, I've read about it, obviously, and I understand what it does, but if I were to just go based on that presentation that they had, all I learned from that is that my friends could take control of it and play awful music.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
I mean, that's all they told us.
It is something that it is kind of hard to explain what is the Nexus Q. I mean, the fact that you have to explain what the Nexus Q is and what it does doesn't bode well for their product.
Do you understand why it has a built-in amplifier? I mean, that really throws me off what this is supposed to do.
Because they want to make it sound good.
Yeah, they're concentrating on high-quality streaming music.
I guess they maybe want to sell you speakers to go along with it. They're going to be extremely expensive, too.
They are.
They are, yeah. The speakers are as expensive as the device, right?
I don't see a price, but... I
mean, that was around. By the way, I have the images of that display, the Apple patent for the smart cover, if you guys want to see it.
Yeah.
Here are some of the images. So it's going to be a secondary screen. So you're going to have controls on the bottom here in that position. And now you're going to also have the ability to see the screen. And those are solar panels, little tiny solar panels, solar cells. And it turns into a keyboard.
It's really cool, but I don't think anything will ever come of it.
Oh, no. I see. I think the complete opposite. I think they're going to have something like this to compete with what the Surface is doing.
You do?
Yeah. I think this is going to be the future of this device. They're going to put this out probably, I mean, not with the next release, obviously. This is being developed now, but the smart cover is going to be a huge selling point for this thing.
I would agree with that because it's, that's what you're always trying to do with these products is how can you take it to the next level? How can you also make something that helps sell it? And I think these sort of things would definitely help sell iPads.
I don't know. I think that they're going to sell it regardless. And
well, how much is the smart cover now?
Well, yeah. How much is it now? It's like $40.
And how much would this be?
About 3,000.
Yeah.
3,000 pounds, actually, Joe. Not even dollars.
So $6,000.
$6,000. That's how much we're going to have to see this thing for in the market. I mean, it's going to probably be about $199 or $100.
On top of the iPad.
Yeah, they're going to have to take as little money as possible because this is going to be a huge selling point to this device. I do want to touch on something that's happening in the UK, Joe, and I don't know if you've heard, but there's something called the Olympics happening. I don't know if you know about this.
I've heard about it. I'm not sure what it is.
And apparently what happens is a bunch of people show up from all different countries, and they compete in events. Like some people swim, some people run. We play really good basketball. So we do these things, and they give out these gold medals. I don't know. It's a crazy concept. But there's a huge controversy over how it's being presented here in the States. It's a total mess of a situation, if you ask me. NBC has the rights to broadcast the Olympics, and it's on tape delay for most major events.
But their Twitter is real time.
But their Twitter is real time. So if you're following their Twitter, you already know. So they're giving away the story. There was a big thing where they took a certain part out of the opening ceremony because they didn't feel that it catered to Americans.
Yeah, they took out the World War II.
And the 7/7 tribute.
Yeah, the 7/7 tribute they took out as well. The other thing is they also have a 3D feed, and the 3D feed is even more delayed.
No.
Than what it's like 2 days behind for the 3D feed. So it's a giant mess of a situation. They're even saying that the anchors are wrong and they're not really, the coverage is whacked out. But there's now people out there that are able to go through, use a VPN and use the BBC app.
Yeah, on the iPlayer, they're streaming it live.
On the iPlayer to stream it live. And this is fascinating. It's a very backwards way of doing it. And I really thought this would have been the first year that we would have been able to get everything online. I believe it was the 92 Olympics.
Well, it's fine if you're in the UK.
If you're in the UK,
we've got
yeah.
it all streaming, yeah.
Sure. But why not just, I don't know, air it live online? Air everything live. Have the ads there in real time, air it live, and just do it that way. You know, in 92, there was big controversy with the Olympics, and Joe's obviously too young to remember this. I remember it. That they put it on pay-per-view, and they were putting major events. I mean, like things that you want to see. They were airing it on pay-per-view, and it was like $100 to get the Olympics in pay-per-view. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it was a big deal, and I think that was one of the last years they ever did that, or possibly the first year. They're always trying to capitalize on the Olympics in some way, and they're not getting it. Why not just give it away for free?
BBC's coverage is spectacular, I think. The work that they've done is absolutely amazing. The fact that they've got more cameras covering the Olympics than they've ever had before, more specialized cameras, remote cameras that they can operate remotely that are completely wireless. It's absolutely fascinating.
Do you think if it was done in the States, it would have been better coverage, or do you think it's just NBC dropping the ball on this and not knowing how to do the coverage?
I don't know. I think BBC has always been one of those networks that's been trying to be innovative in television, period. Everything they do, they want to try to innovate in some sort of fashion. But I don't necessarily see networks here in the United States doing anything like that whatsoever. I don't think they're nearly as creative as the BBC is.
And there's a secondary controversy to this NBC thing.
And what is that?
The Twitter one.
Which? Oh, yeah, say that. Go into that, Joe.
A journalist was banned from Twitter for tweeting out, that using the hashtag NBC fail. But he was allegedly, the thing that he banned him for was for tweeting out the email address of an NBC executive. But I mean, I did see the tweet originally, and it was a pretty standard format for their email address. It was not really particularly secret, but the reason he got banned so easily was because NBC are paying Twitter to make a mega page or something, right?
Yeah, they're a partner.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're going to start seeing more and more of this.
That's great, considering that the International Olympic Committee just told everybody not to tweet.
Is that what they said? Well, yeah, because people are they're all tweeting.
Because the other day they said that all your texts and your tweets are blocking data systems, so we can't cover anything on TV. Apparently, all that stemmed from they were covering some sort of bicycle race, and they couldn't get GPS data to see how far apart all the bicycles were.
Turn
so
off
they
your
were
Wi-Fi.
upset.
That's
The TV
fascinating. Turn off.
TV
Can you?
reporter's going to tell you, we don't know what's going on because we don't have any GPS data.
A guy in a black
Everybody's
turtleneck.
tweeting, so-
A guy in a black turtleneck came out and told everybody to turn off their Wi-Fi.
That's it.
that's that fixed the internet. I still think we're so behind with the
This is
way.
Well, they even did the whole tribute to social media during the opening ceremony, and here they
Yeah.
are saying, "Don't tweet."
Yeah, we're really. I mean, it's
David
so
and Alice,
backwards.
you absolutely have to.
It's so backwards the way that it's handled. One of the I have to praise how the Euro Cup and the World Cup has been done on ESPN. The World Cup a couple years ago, and we're going back. I mean, we're going back a couple of years. They did a phenomenal job at putting all the events on the computer. Everything was streaming. You had different camera angles. I mean, you had so much control over this. And you see the Olympics where it's such niche events too. I mean, there's so much specific stuff you need to see.
Badminton?
Like badminton, yeah. I mean, even qualifications for certain countries. Like it's just there's so much that they could do with it, and they're not
The fact
doing
that
it.
There was eight Olympians that were disqualified from badminton.
Well, oh yeah, because they threw the game, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yesterday they threw the game. They threw the
Yeah.
game so they could get better placement in the rankings because they would have passed through the next
They
round
gamed the
anyway.
system.
Yeah, they gamed the system. So interesting stuff. Microsoft launches Outlook.com. This story came out late last week. It has some ads, unlimited storage, and built-in Skype. This is their next version of their email cloud-based email service. This is not a redesigned version of Hotmail. It's a completely new platform.
No, it is.
It is or it's not? It's not.
Apparently, this is still Hotmail, but they just redesigned the UI.
I read that it's not Hotmail.
Oh yeah. I'll have a look.
They were saying that it was built from the ground up, but it's got a lot of the same stuff as Hotmail.
Yeah.
They've done really well. I think it's really nice.
Oh, I think it's great. I absolutely love it. I've not used a anything other than Gmail in many years, and I think they're really onto something good. It's a familiar name. A lot of people know the name Outlook. A lot of people trust the name Outlook because it gives them some sense of security because it's a pro software.
Whereas the Hotmail name's kind of been dragged through.
When I think of Hotmail, I think of constant Viagra ads and fake Rolex watch emails. Like that's all I think of with Hotmail because that's what my Hotmail has become. It's like the slums of Calcutta. That's
Slums of Calcutta show name.
Yeah, that's the name of the show. It is. It really is. It's almost like some bad corner in the bad section of Calcutta where they chop people's hands off and take their watches from them. That's what Hotmail represents to me. On the other hand, Outlook.com is extremely clean. It's a great looking UI. They're really going to do well with this. But one thing that I've always been fascinated with is that they don't use the name Bing. I really thought they would have a Bing email service, and they never came up with it. And when we had Paul on Tuesday, Paul Thurrott said Microsoft and not his. I'm not quoting him here, so don't say Paul Thurrott said this, but he said in more ways than one, Microsoft does not have 100% faith in Hotmail in Bing. So they're not going with the Bing name because they don't know if they're going to stay with the Bing name. It has not been a success in their opinion.
Has it really gone anywhere in your opinion though over the few years it's been around?
You know what? It had a couple cool features. It did a great job with photos. It did a great job with video search.
It got better once they copied Google.
It got better. Yeah, it got better. But you're really the search game, in my opinion, unless something drastic changes, and I think we're going to see a major shift in search with voice activated search. I think with Siri and what Google is doing and what Microsoft will most probably do.
Google, find me porn.
And it does. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. But it's not necessarily the search aspect of it. What it's going to do, you're going to say, who is Abraham Lincoln? And it'll pull up, the information for you rather than searching for you.
I think that's fine if you're using a phone.
I think that's what's going to happen
I think it's a
eventually.
little strange if it's a computer.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but mobile devices.
I don't want to sit on my computer here and talking to it. I like the privacy of people not hearing me talk about everything that I'm doing on my computer.
No, on mobile, it's, and you're talking about tablets as well. I think that's going to be the way of the future. And in reality, the next 10 years, there's going to be a shift from the personal computer to mobile. It's all going to be a mobile device. The days of these, the desktop and laptop are numbered, and the reality is we're going to go to these tablets, and the phones are going to be your main device.
Let's get back to Outlook.com here, because I think it's really interesting, and because I included this feature chart that compares it to Gmail, and in almost every single feature, Outlook beats Gmail, which I think is a little surprising. I'm actually looking at this, and I'm like, wow, Outlook looks really good, because honestly, I've never been a fan of this Windows 8 style UI Metro look. I've never been one that likes that. Aesthetically, that doesn't do anything for me. I hate the look of it. I really do. I'd rather see something like Gmail. It seems better to me for whatever reason, just visually. But in all respects, feature for feature, Outlook beats the crap out of Gmail. You're talking about the fact that you have unlimited storage. You get 100 megabytes per attachment. Gmail only gives you 25. 300 if you actually use SkyDrive.
I forgot my password for Outlook.
Best filtering of newsletters and discounts and more, which is pretty cool. The fact that it'll actually filter out your newsletters into a separate area, and it'll also give you an unsubscribe button for those newsletters, which is extremely handy. And I wish Gmail would do something like that. The only area where it really does fall short, though, is its POP and IMAP support. It only has Active Sync, and I think for it to really be usable for mass users out there, it has to have POP and IMAP sync like Gmail does. That's the only area where you can truly fault Outlook compared to Gmail.
So I have it pulled up here. I'm just showing how it works to Joe D Max.
So Hotmail is still sending you calendar alerts.
Yeah, which is awful.
Send it to outlook.com.
Joe D Max at Outlook, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got that.
All right, so we're gonna send an email. Hello. All right.
And it's a little interesting that they put the where you're sending it to on the left.
Yeah, yeah. So how do I hit send? Oh, send is top. Okay, and that's how you send an email. I think it's great. I think they did a great job with this.
And the animations are very nice.
The animations are very nice. Their contacts list is excellent. I think they did a great job with contacts.
It has some pretty good filtering because that went straight to junk.
Did it really?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, no, not at all.
What did I write
That
in
is
there?
one of the areas where we don't know if their filtering for spam is good or not.
I'm trying to find someone's contact that I could display here. Let's put Eric Lanigan's contact. But
I think that, down the road they're still going to have to offer some stuff that Gmail does as well, like Google Apps. I think Google Apps is a great offering, and I could, because this is something that I'm actually doing right now, is that I'm going to be transitioning my parents' domain from their web host over to Google Apps for their email. And feature for feature, like I said, I like Outlook, and I would almost rather put them on Outlook, but Outlook doesn't have Google Apps like Google does, so I can't go to Outlook for them. I can't assign their domain name to Outlook.
No,
so
they've done
Google Apps.
They also
bad in itself, but
I mean, this is also a preview, so a lot of the features aren't there. Like the calendar has not been updated. I don't have the new SkyDrive yet. That's not shown as updated for me. It's just mail and people, but I feel that they're going to add more of these functions to this
There is
platform.
another feature that you haven't talked about yet.
What is that?
Skype calling, right inside of
Yes.
Outlook.
Yeah, so how does that work? Because
I don't
haven't
know.
seen
Do
it.
you want to try and let's
mind
see.
you, this is beta, and they said that I don't think that Skype integration is live yet, but they said that they do have it planned.
I think some people have it. Because I
So
saw...
yeah, definitely keep in mind that this Outlook.com is still a beta product. They said this is more or less a public preview, a public beta. This is not something we feel is complete.
I think they did a great job with this. I think they really did a great job.
I'm very interested to see how they implement Skype, whether it's via some kind of desktop plugin or Flash, which seems unlikely.
And
or-
you know what? They could really take over the cloud-based email services, because if every Windows 8 computer that comes with your computer, every Windows 8 operating system has this by default, and when you sign up, everything goes to your email. There you go. They've taken over the market. I mean, that's really how they're going to do it. I think it's great. I think it's phenomenal.
I really need to try this on the iPad and see
How it works.
on there. Yeah.
Just before we go into our picks of the week, I do want to touch on this. We've been talking about Windows 8 a lot today, and we've been talking about Apple's announcement on September 15th. But Apple reported 3 million people downloaded Mountain Lion the first 4 days, the most successful OS X release ever. 3 million people downloaded the application. It's a $20 app with over 200 features. I don't think it was that beneficial of a update, but 20 million people downloaded this. I mean, that's a huge jump from prior years.
Yeah.
It's interesting. For $20, I'm curious to see how many people are going to upgrade to Windows 8, because that's also going to be really cheap. But this is how they're going to do it. This is the future of the operating system. No more $300 operating systems.
I think that upgrading to Windows 8 is going to be a lot harder.
You think people are not going to want to do it?
Apple can do some really clever stuff, though, because they control the hardware on a very low level, so they can make it much easier to update. I'm just interested to see how the upgrade process is from 7 to 8.
Yeah, that's going to... Well, yeah, it's not that difficult. I've done it before. I've done it a couple times. It's not that bad. Suncast, you want to pick one more story and then we do our picks?
Yeah, I want to talk about this Verizon tethering story, which is a big deal to, I think, anybody that uses Verizon for tethering. So there's this whole C block of LTE spectrum, 700 megahertz spectrum that the FCC auctioned off. And one of the conditions of using this spectrum is that you have to make it open. And you have to make it open so that people can use basically any applications that they want to use on their phones. And Verizon was blocking tethering applications. They actually asked Google and Apple to remove certain applications from their stores so that they couldn't. So they were forced to buy tethering from Verizon. So the FCC did a whole bunch of investigating and said, well, you know what you did? That's not the way we designed this whole spectrum to be used. So we're going to fine you, I think, $1.25 million, and you have to allow tethering applications on your devices now, which I think is a big win for consumers, because now they can go in, they can actually get tethering applications. They don't necessarily have to use or have to purchase a tethering plan from Verizon to tether their phone to their computer or whatever device that they have.
But let me ask you this. In the terms of service, they say you cannot use tethering if you do not pay for tethering. And if we catch you doing it, we will, I don't know, whatever your account.
Castigate you.
Castigate, yeah. You will be castigated by them and get an infraction.
Well, this seems to be somewhat of an exception because of this particular spectrum that they're using, because like I said, the FCC auctioned off this C block of 700 megahertz spectrum with the condition that whoever uses this, applications that operate on this spectrum have to be whatever application that the consumers want to run.
I'm curious if this actually
which
changes the
include
terms of
tethering
service.
applications.
I mean, listen, when we were at Blog World, we had to use tethering to connect back to the server here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we couldn't figure out what the internet was, and I just downloaded a quick app and I used it for about 2 minutes, and as an emergency.
I don't think they care.
You don't think they care if we're tethering or not?
No, I don't think they care that you had an emergency and had to tether.
Oh, you don't think it was an issue for them?
No, they'll castigate you anyway, you know?
Damn those Verizon people. There was an interesting story that I didn't see in the notes, but it was out, and it was about RIM and the couple things that they're planning. One is that they're launching a 4G LTE version of their tablet August 9th for the BlackBerry Playbook. The other story was that they may be licensing the BlackBerry operating system to other OEMs. And this is fascinating to me, and I think this is going to be an interesting play.
I'm totally on the opposite side of you. Why is this fascinating?
I'll tell you why. Because with Google and Motorola kind of teaming up, and with Windows having Nokia and with Apple having themselves, where does this leave HTC, Samsung, and other OEMs, other phone manufacturers? Where does this leave them? They really don't have a fallback. If Google turns around and says, sorry, only Motorola is getting this Google experience from now on, which I'm not saying they are going to do because we've seen that they have a good relationship with Samsung. But how about HTC? What happens if they only start supplying these great operating systems to these phones? Where does this leave them? They really don't have an option unless they go to some other, operating system that they have to develop, or they could get BlackBerry and put the BlackBerry operating system on there. I think we're going to see the openness of BlackBerry over the next year. I don't think they're going to survive in the hardware market. I think they're going to start putting their software on other phones.
I think that's possible, but at this moment, BlackBerry is still a sinking ship. And until proven otherwise, nobody's going to be interested in putting BlackBerry on their phones.
Well, they're hoping this operating system is their last hope.
Yeah.
If this...
No.
You don't think so? Go ahead.
No, I mean, I think the way they would save themselves is by selling people their BlackBerry Messenger on iOS and Android, because that seems really popular.
That's something they should have done 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. For many people...
That was before the ship started to sink, though.
Yeah, but for many people, that's why they were with BlackBerry. I'm not talking about enterprise, but I'm talking about the consumer. The consumer loved the BlackBerry Messenger app.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got the little check mark on the D and the R.
Yeah. They loved it. So I'm sure they're going to open that up next. But with the next release, I mean, we're still months away from seeing the BlackBerry 10 device hit the market. It's a very competitive market, and this is really their last hope of survival. If this does not work, it's Palm all over again. It's so sad to see it because I like the competition out there, but how are they going to compete with Apple, with Microsoft, with Android dominating everything? I mean, Android is dominating this entire market.
I still don't think that RIM necessarily gets the market. RIM is always going to be one of those companies that's focused on enterprise. And their consumers are always going to be second to enterprise. And the way that RIM is structured, the way that RIM thinks, the way that everybody in RIM thinks, it's all about enterprise and that sort of ecosphere.
But okay, so with that
which
said,
doesn't necessarily
right.
lend itself to be good for consumers.
No, and that's fine if they could grab the enterprise market once again,
but
that'll be phenomenal. But enterprise has opened up to everybody else at this point. It's not necessary to have a BlackBerry to have a secure phone. Go ahead.
Like 7 years ago, if you consider a smartphone, your RIM or Palm. Now, like neither of them, Palm is done completely, and RIM is sinking quickly, as you said. So, I mean, that's an incredible shift in the market, really, isn't it?
It's an incredible shift, and I think a lot of it is attributed to the iPhone and the fact that you don't need a BlackBerry to be an enterprise user. Right. I think that also comes into play. Listen, we could all be wrong, and they could put this device out, and they'll get a ton of praise, and it'll be great. And they'll grab enterprise again. It depends on how RIM places.
At this point, I am not holding out any hope. I mean, you don't want to see RIM fail, but at the same time, it's at the point where it's like, I don't care anymore, and I don't see them doing much of any good.
You know what I think hurt them a lot?
It really is a Hail Mary pass.
You know what I think?
Do or die.
I'll tell you one thing that I never liked about RIM. It was the fact that I had no idea which phone is like the top phone. They never did a good job at emphasizing their
their marketing has always been enterprise focused.
I know, but
that's my whole point is that their marketing is crap.
Yeah, I mean, but I'll give you an example. Like you would have the bold. I'm just throwing a bold 2300 on AT&T. Then you would have the bold 3600 on Verizon. I mean, they would do such silly things with the numbering and the way that they would present it. I just never got it.
No, I could never follow the numbering system.
I never could find, and I know you did it, Suncast, because that you wrote about RIM.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was it confusing to other people?
If you were following BlackBerry, it wasn't necessarily as hard.
But if you weren't following.
But if you're not, and it's like now, it's like the fact that they don't really release much anymore, and the fact that what's out there now is basically all the same product. It's like, what the heck is what. Like a lot of the stuff that you're seeing now, any sort of operating system updates, it's all for other countries.
Yeah.
Anything that's being released, any sort of device that they're releasing now, is for other countries, other than the Playbook.
Yeah.
Every device that they've launched in the past year practically has been for some other country. So and that to me lends to the confusion that's out there, is that you'll see these sites like Engadget and The Verge, say, oh, well, such and such device 9310 launched.
Yeah.
That's for like Egypt.
Yeah. You're right.
And who gives a freaking crap about it?
Yeah. All right.
I don't care about the 9310
Calm
launching
down.
in
Calm
Egypt.
down. Relax. It's okay. Breathe, John. Breathe. Time for picks of the week. Who wants to go first this week?
Joe,
you're first.
I've been playing a lot with Cam Twist, and you've watched me play with it, and
I have.
it's really good.
You really like it, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's not that it's like the very, very best, but it's free. And if you want to start doing this kind of stuff, what more could you ask for?
Have they been updating it?
Yeah, quite recently. And they also have a very nice website, camtwiststudio.com.
Oh, is it
is it
new?
widescreen?
It's, yeah.
I mean, I think
It
that's something that's
much better
important
shows
today
off
is
the
if
product.
it's widescreen.
Yeah, it does do wide.
It does do wide, yeah.
I'm trying to find the website. Studio.com. Yeah, Cam Twist is Mac only, right?
It is Mac only.
Yeah, so here's the website. Mac only. It's free, which is not bad. Now, it doesn't do streaming.
No, but you can stream with Flash Media Encoder, etc. But, I mean, at the price.
Yeah,
You
totally
can't
free.
beat
And it
it.
works with the Blackmagic Intensity Pro, which is phenomenal.
Yep.
That's actually a good pick. Cam Twist Studio is the website. Cam Twist is the software.
I
John-
just wanted to throw something out that was
Yeah.
free.
I thank you. I appreciate it. John, what's your pick of the week?
All right, my pick of the week this week is a WordPress plugin. It's called Relevancy. Anybody that works with WordPress knows that
Relevancy.
Relevancy.
Okay.
WordPress doesn't necessarily have the greatest search. You try to search on the website, and this is something that I came up with Chase on Geek Gamer Weekly just the other day, where he was trying to search his own website, couldn't find what he wanted because WordPress search is just that bad. Relevancy is a free plugin for WordPress that makes search so much better. Like you can instantly see the difference when you install this plugin and set it up. It's that good. It's got a lot of cool features. You install it, you have to set up the index, which is basically the only thing you really have to do is set up the index. Takes a couple of minutes once it has all your information in there. And then it'll read through your comments. You can search your comments. You can search your shortcode content, which it doesn't do right now. So any sort of shortcode content that you have doesn't show up. It actually sorts the results by relevance rather than date. So in that part right there is what really makes it even more useful. The fact that you can see whatever you're searching for by relevance. So if you're searching for like oatmeal cookies, you'll actually get posts that say oatmeal cookies rather than just any post by date
That
most
use the
recent
word
date,
cookie or oatmeal.
oatmeal. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're looking for oatmeal cookie. It also does fuzzy matching or partial word matching, which is really great. So if you enter part of a word, but not all the words match, which is really great. It's such a good plugin. If you want to make your WordPress search infinitely better, this is a great plugin to do it. It's one of the best that's out there. In fact, I think it's the best search plugin out there for WordPress. It's called Relevancy. They also have a free premium version that adds a whole bunch of advanced features, which is pretty cool. So if you want to do that, you'll have to pay a little bit more money, but it does stuff like improved spelling correction, which you see on Google all the time where it says, "Did you mean?"
Yeah. Very cool.
And it's pretty cool. The free version, I think, works great. If you want to really enhance your search on WordPress, this is a great plugin to do it. It's called Relevancy, and you can get it on the WordPress.org plugin repository.
Very cool. My pick this week is an Android pick, an Android application called HackSync. Now, one of the biggest problems that I face with Android is I'm one of those crazy people that needs to sync up all my contacts and have all the images and all the information together. And Android itself does a great job at that, and it constantly backs everything up. But one of the issues that I have is that Google's images in their contacts is 75 by 75. So every time you upload, you kind of sync everything together, it's tiny little images and they get distorted and it looks fuzzy when you blow it up. You used to be able to sync your Facebook contacts in with your regular contacts, but that stopped. It doesn't really work the right way, and it doesn't sync everybody properly, and it doesn't sync high-res images. What this application does, it's totally free. It's called HackSync. It allows you to have high-quality images, so the images are much larger than what Google's providing you, and it syncs all your Facebook contacts to your contacts list. And the other thing is you could specifically say, let's say, for example, Suncast is on Facebook. Let's say Joe. Joe is on as Joe Max, not Joe to Max. And in my phone, I have him as Joe to Max. Originally, with the Facebook app, it wouldn't find Joe. It would say, hey, that's not the same person. The contact information wouldn't sync. What this does, you could specifically pick people and say, no, Joe is this guy. Or let's say Suncast is in my phone as Suncast and he is using John on Facebook. I could tell the application who the person is, and it'll sync all their info.
The contacts.
It can merge the contacts. Before, you couldn't do that with Facebook. I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but if your Facebook contacts, you couldn't add the information to the phone. You could only modify the one that you had on your phone, not the Facebook contact. It was a whole thing. With this, it combines them, it modifies them, does a great job. It works on Jelly Bean and Ice Cream Sandwich, which is great, and it's called HackSync, HackSync, and you could get it in the Google Play Store, and I believe it's a free app. I believe it's free. It says installed, so I can't really see at this point, but I believe it was free. Great application. There was an issue with Jelly Bean, but they fixed the problem with the latest version, and it works perfectly fine.
So the app is 99 cents, and they've provided some sort of workaround to work with Jelly Bean, which is free.
Yeah, which is free. Okay, so it's $1. The application is $1.
Well worth it.
Yeah, well worth it in my opinion. If you're like me and you want the contact synced up, and that's my pick of the week. Joe, thank you so much for joining us this week.
No, you're welcome.
It was your first time on the show. Was it good?
Yeah. Very good
Suncast,
show.
John didn't attempt to bite you.
He didn't.
He didn't try to
Not
scratch
yet.
you. And he behaved himself.
He behaved himself.
John, thank you so much for joining me as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you all next week on Tech News Weekly. Good night, everybody. Actually, no. Suncast, what's your website?
Oh, you want to do plugs now?
Yeah, I forgot. What's your website?
Amadeus, AMADAIS.com. That's how to spell it. It's my website where I post YouTube covers. There's a lot of artists out there on YouTube that are really cool. They do cover songs, and they're as good as the people that you hear on the radio. So I like to go in and I like to highlight a bunch of those artists, post them on my website. It's Amadeus.com.
And Joe, you're Joe to Max on Twitter.
Yeah.
People can follow you there. I'm Andrew Zarian on Twitter. If you miss any portion of the show, of course, you could catch it live on gfqlive.tv when we replay it, or you could download the show where podcasts are available, and, of course, on our website at gfqnetwork.com. And I'll do it again. We'll see you all next week on Tech News Weekly. Good night, everybody.